Johnny, welcome to the Fireside Chats with Angel. Um, for those who have no idea who I'm talking to right now, John Stockfish. He's been an old friend, musical comrade, and also I've been a huge fan of your work. In another life, you were known as Johnny Personality, a founding
Yep.
member of my favorite band of the uh, the punk wars, if you want to call it, early to mid '90s, the punk
Yeah.
wave, the
Yeah.
Vindictives. You spent some time with Screeching Weasel, and then of course back to the Flim Flams and Fairy Wonderpuss, and Mike and the Molotovs is your latest group that you're
Yep.
awesome. I want to hear more about that, but anyway, welcome. And before I get started, I just want to let everyone know I'm looking at the camera. Please like and subscribe to as we go along with Angel so you can get notified about all these wonderful conversations we've been having. And first of all, I want to say that I've always wanted to have you on this channel because I feel like your contribution to the music scene is probably grossly underrated. But also, for those who know, if you know, I mean, you're like the linchpin of a lot of really heavy, important bands. So,
Hmm.
and usually when I do these chats, I always ask I have several stock questions. One of them being is if do you have any memories of our first meeting? But I want to change it a little bit. I want to ask you, do you remember or do you have any first meetings of the first time we played together?
I think I'm trying to think the first time we played together might have been at a Vindictive practice actually. I think because you were helping Buckley at before one of the shows. I think for it was like one of the last shows at um was it like it's like an underground club kind of by Wrigley Field, not Wrigley side, but
Oh, the crawl
um
space.
Crawl Space. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think I don't know if I was helping you guys out, but so my my side on that is that I have a memory of Buckley. It was that same, I think 94. And Buckley
Yeah.
was like, dude, I don't Joey wants to re-record all the songs again, and I just can't do it. You want to take
Yeah.
a crack at it? And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
re-recording, which and I was always curious about that whole thinking about what was the I mean, that project alone, because I know Jughead brought it up on the podcast
Yeah.
that we did together. But like, what do you have any memories of that project or what?
Yeah, I think it was just kind of like, you know, that early 90s thing with, Green Day exploding and then, it kind of like a lot of people in the underground realized, oh shit, the mainstream is starting to take notice of punk rock and underground bands and, you know, maybe we have a shot or something like that, you know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah,
I think and with that whole thing, I always my if you want to call it dreams or whatever, or realistic idea of what would happen with that would be if I was able to make music like I'd have the same kind of income that I would like working a day job or something like that.
hmm
I never
yeah,
thought I'd get rich or famous or something. But I think some people, it's funny that they're in the underground punk rock world where it's like that was the attraction that it's like no we don't want to be rich and famous, we just want to play music and have
Enter
fun and
entertain
everything
our
that goes with that,
friends and yeah, I
right? And
mean,
then it kind of I think tested that and drove a lot of people crazy because they thought we could get rich and then they start telling each other like the words like like punk legends and all this crap, you know what I mean, like going
sure,
around and like, make people like think like oh shit it's time to get serious or whatever. So I think maybe I think for us because we're um there's the opportunity to well we were on lookout for the the first 7 inches
yeah,
and so I think with that it's kind of like oh it's it's kind of bumped up to the next level. So we just wanted everything to sound better, you know.
yeah,
So from what I remember, that was kind of the, to get it sort of to that level if like more, whether you get rich or not or famous or whatever, but it's like you might get either played on the radio or something, there'd be more attention. So it's like with that, it's like you want the songs to sound a bit better, I think, because the mixes were, they're not up to like what people were perceiving as like a professional level kind of a thing. And there'd be a lot of bands like kind of in the underground, there's like that next step. I think
Sure.
even like Bad Religion, they had like, you know they re-recorded, well, like 21st Century Digital Boy, because that was like
Right.
becoming a huge hit kind of a thing. So it's like, I
Yeah.
think it sort of was probably in that kind of, you know that far process in a way. But
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
always like, I personally, I think Buckley and Dr. Bob had more, oh man, here we go kind of a thing. And I never, I was like, you know, part of me is like more concerned. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
there's benefits to that, of course, like playing some bigger stages and maybe,
Yeah.
but again, it's like we still didn't have like uh we were still on the fence whether we'd even tour and stuff like that. So it's like, you
Yeah.
know, for Vindictives, it's like this isn't, it's probably not going to be the band that's going to be like going on the road with the big acts or whatever. you
Sure.
know.
And that's a lot of work. And in
So
fact, I know just I was listening to the Jughead interview you did, and you brought up something about touring and how like you just didn't want to tour. I mean, you had opportunities where you could have been bands that
yeah.
could have been touring. For me, it's just I was talking with Andy from Apocalypse Hoboken a couple weeks ago, and we were talking
Mhm.
about the same thing because they were, touring a ton. But I guess the fun part of it starts to end when it starts to feel like a job. Like, was that something that you were like
Yeah.
kind of wanted to keep the music part precious, or like, not precious, but like almost like kind of having respect for? Because yeah, once you go on the
Yeah.
road, I mean, it starts to get complicated, and
Right.
some of the
Well,
guys couldn't handle being away for a long time. So I don't know. But anyway,
yeah.
sorry.
I think, yeah, I don't know. Part of me felt like I always, yeah, in the keeping it like fun, really, that was a big thing. Just keeping it, yeah, like the music to me was like it's more fun, and I guess there's like that precious part of it where it's like when you start putting it's just weird to me to put like a dollar sign on it, and you have
Hmm.
to. It's like there's a business part of it, and that's if you're going to be, you know, have it as your profession. It's just part of it. You're going to have to do that. So I kind of went with the thing of like, well, you don't have to do that. You could just have like, and I mostly thought of the idea of like, well, you could always just have a day job, and that'd be
Yeah,
your income, whatever that would be, and
yeah,
then you could still do the music, and however it turns out, your new records, your show turnouts, or whatever is like, however that turns out, you could still have fun, and it's not going to be like, oh shit, only 5 people turned up at the show. It's like, or this tour, it's like we're like losing money. I don't know how we're gonna even get home. We hear stories about that too. It's like
sure, yeah,
bands that are, you know, usually the underground bands, they're going on tour and they like, yeah, we're gonna be sleeping in a van all together and we're gonna be broke, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I just, to me, I'm like, that doesn't sound fun to me. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, and would you say that has a lot to do with your like upbringing? Because I know you're from Park Ridge originally, and
Yeah,
it's a very like kind of quiet,
spoiled Park Ridge brat.
yeah, yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
like for me, like I had no qualms with doing all that, because for me it was like the experience. But it is really hard, and if I can go back in time and be like, oh, what could I have done differently, you know,
yeah,
definitely, and I definitely hear, I remember Buckley in particular complaining about like, dude, we're not playing as much as we should be, and then, and I think I remember there was like two camps. There's like that, and I think that's where I learned from Joey was that, you don't want to play you don't want to play all the time. You want to just stretch it out and, make it special. It seemed like
yeah.
so. the first time I ever saw the Vindictives, I don't know if I ever told you this story, but it was I think the last show with Ben Weasel when he was in your band, and at that point, like I had never heard of you guys, and I'm like, who are these guys? And like, what is up with the singer? He looks like he's like a caged animal, like
Yeah.
at any moment, it was just like this motley crew of people on stage, and I'm like,
Yeah.
but I didn't hate it or like it. It was just like, what is this?
This is called The Invisible Man, and this is the title song.
Those two sitting right there. Listen, no, not behind you. Yeah. Goes out to you two. Listen to the lyrics. And if you listen carefully, I know you'll quit your job tomorrow.
It might save your life. Buy this 7-inch. It's over there.
And it seemed like you guys were like constantly playing, and I would constantly be at those shows. Like it was like kind of like at that point, I'm like, okay, like these guys were entertaining. I'm gonna check them out, and then I don't know. I think it
Yeah.
was the third time.
You and I probably met at McGregor's,
Mm,
I think, probably. I don't know.
that makes sense. I mean, I was definitely very shy at first, and I once
Yeah.
I kind of like became like,
Same.
yeah, no, and I think it's interesting that like the fact that your moniker was Johnny Personality. 'Cause, I mean,
That
on
was probably it.
stage, yeah.
Yeah. That was probably a cruel joke by Ben Weasel because he's the one that gave me that moniker.
Oh, he gave you
So,
that name.
yeah,
Okay.
you
I
know what I
never
mean?
I never got a
So
punk name.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's
I
like, this guy's kind of weird and quiet. And it's like, his name's Johnny Personality. That'd be hilarious. Or, I don't know. Whatever. I don't care.
I mean, it's like a 50s gang kind of vibe going on there. So it's
Yeah.
like, you got Dr. Bob. I mean, Dr. Bob too, rest in peace of him.
Yeah.
With the mustache and the leather look. I mean, it was just, I think, but yeah, I think the third time I saw you guys, I think it was it was one of those hot summer shows with Screeching Weasel, and I think the Queers were playing that night too.
Yeah. Well,
And
that was the first time I think the first time we played McGregor's. It was Weasel, the Queers, and us.
oh
So
wow.
yeah,
And
that
for
was a
those
fun
folks,
show.
yeah, and for those folks who and it's funny with the last few guests, sorry, my mittens is in the way.
Oh,
Um,
no problem. Love
we
cats.
constantly talk, yeah, this guy especially. We always constantly we've been talking about McGregor's a lot, like it's coming up. But what was your first show at McGregor's?
Um, you mean attending or
Hmm.
like playing?
Oh,
Oh, my
attending.
first show. Oh, attending. That's a great. Is probably Sludgeworth. I'm thinking.
Mm.
Um, might be that. Might be Weasel. Might have been the first band to play there. I know Apocalypse Hoboken was playing. We see a lot of. It's like we'd follow Apocalypse Hoboken and Sludgeworth a lot. When
Okay,
they would play
yeah,
shows. So wherever they would play shows, we'd like try
and
and catch them.
that was the lineup with Ted on vocals. From
Yeah. Yep.
okay.
Yeah, we saw some shows at Wrigley Side,
Mm,
with Apocalypse Hoboken, and but yeah, I'm guessing the first show was probably, it might have been a Weasel show at
yeah,
McGregor's. So
yeah.
yeah, or
And that
Sludgeworth. I'm not really sure.
If there's someone on this planet that doesn't have a problem in the world, I'd like to meet that person. We just woke up with a noise to do. It's called Sunday.
McGregor's was a sports bar that would
Yeah.
have like it was 21 and over except for the weekends or Sundays, and they would have
Mm.
these teen nights, but it was
Mm.
and it was booked by Matt Nelson, Out of Control Productions, who he's another person that doesn't get a lot of talk about these days. So I'm trying to. Do you have any memories of Matt Nelson?
Oh yeah, yeah. He at the first punk show I saw, which was Screeching Weasel, Dresden, and 63 Eyes at I think there's a fourth band, but they weren't able to make it or something.
Hmm.
And that was at Dirty Nelly's. That was like the first punk shows that I'd gone to. So those were some good shows as well. And that was when I met, Matt Nelson. He just looked like, with the Mohawks and, like my introduction to this world of like, oh, real punk rockers, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Mohawks, or he just looked like a regular guy with blonde, kind of your, regular short haircut, but not like a buzz, just like you wouldn't think that he was involved in punk rock or anything. So
Yeah, and especially when he was, because he just had that look of like, he definitely looked like the stereotypical like suburban jock rock, kind of like maybe,
yeah,
like
yeah,
it was very like compared to everybody else, but
yeah,
this guy that just didn't have the uniform was booking these amazing shows, and the
yeah,
best part about that venue was that how close it was to our homes, which for you was probably like hop, skip, and a jump to
yeah.
Elmhurst, and then for
Well,
like the
Matson, I have one of the if you've seen I can't remember if you're a subscriber to the John Stockfish thing YouTube page.
oh, that's a good plug. Yeah, the John Stockfish
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. It's my thing to unload my GoPro videos of. It's mostly a lot of Michael Molotov shows and stuff. And
Okay.
there's some drum cam show or drum cam footage as well. But in that, there's a couple of old Weasel and Vindictives clips,
Hmm.
and one of them is from that first show that we played at McGregor's, and Matt Nelson is at the beginning of the Weasel part, the video that's Weasel live at McGregor's. And he's like, yeah, support all ages shows. One thing you remember, you can't drink in the parking lot. It's like he's doing that kind of spiel.
Support independent all ages shows. One thing though, you cannot drink in the parking lot, okay? We need your help by not drinking in the parking lot. Thank you very much for your support and have a wonderful night.
Oh,
So,
I have seen it. In fact, I appropriated a clip of Matt Nelson for a video. I recently found a lost track by my old band, the Hee Hee Wives, if you remember
yeah, I remember.
from
Yep.
that trio.
Yeah.
And it was something that we recorded for a compilation that never came out. Of course, that's like the history. That's the story of everybody's.
Where I stand, oh, what's going
There's like
Sorry,
videos of my cats and stuff there too, so it's just a mix.
okay.
Me talking like a baby to my cats.
Oh. What? What do you think? Meow. Kitty. What do you think? Think you're gonna get more? Kitties. Oh, there's Pixie. Hi. Hi. There's Pixie. Hi, Pixie. Okay, let's go. Hi, Daddy. What's up? So you're in Arizona now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How
Since
long?
2018, moved out here, my wife and I, and yeah, I love it. You know, we don't miss the snow. You know,
Yeah. I mean,
we
this,
miss
yeah,
some
you,
friends in Chicago. Miss some friends in Chicagoland, of course, but you know, there's some things that like the food in Chicago, and also more things that are open 24 hours. We kind of miss that, but
yeah.
um, other
Obviously,
than that,
don't cost of living is much better down there.
yeah, well, definitely when we moved out here, but it's jumped up since
Mm.
now a lot of California has moved over.
Oh, here we go. That's how.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
one guy, the rhythm and guitar player Ivan from like the Molotovs, he was played with us for like 2 years, and he was a recent transplant from LA, and he recently this year moved back because he was just like, heck, I can't do the heat, man. I just can't do it.
I'm cool. But yeah, so you made the move to Arizona and
Yep.
uh and how long you been married for?
Like since 2005, so 20 years. Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
Um, we met on what was it? Match.com.
Okay. Hey,
Believe it or not.
sometimes it's the best way, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just hit it up, emailed a bit, and then decided to met up at like a Dunkin' Donuts and just talked for like
Oh,
5 hours. So after that, we pretty much knew.
I mean that's yeah, and how long until that first date to marriage? Or did you guys give it some time or
It was like 3 years. So because
Hmm,
that was about 2002
okay.
that we met. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, when we were playing together, which that's an interesting story on how that all kind of happened. But I think I might have been living a single life. Definitely, I was living like a debauched life. It was like, I'm like, how can these guys stand me? Because I'm just, I don't know. It was, I was
Well,
young. I mean, I was what, 22, 23 at the
yeah.
time. Because
Well,
what's our, yeah.
aside from Joey, we were all single. It was when we were playing together. It was like you, me. I don't know if I'm jumping around too much in our story, but it's
No,
like
that's
yeah,
cool.
there's a time where it was like the Vindictives was you, Billy, me, and uh, and Joey. But I mean, the three of us were mainly practicing for like the Hypno Punko and stuff. I'm I feel I have thoughts, and then I've probably like changing the subject a lot. So
That's
hopefully
fine. I mean, well,
I'll probably jump around because I have a thought and then I think about it. Like it goes back to like the wanting to play shows and stuff. It's like that's one thing. I was definitely on board for playing shows. It's
yeah.
just touring I didn't want to play. So it's like over the years, I think when we were jamming with Mike, Mike Byrne,
Hmm.
who also was in. If, again, people who don't know, Mike Byrne, played with uh, Vindictives for at least mostly in the practice room. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? For a lot of
Yeah.
years, along with Trey. But then when when the band broke up in '96, when Joey wrote the letter basically that his health troubles were just like, look, this isn't going to happen. I need to get better, and officially the Vindictives are broken up. So I wish the other guys the best, and whatever they want to do. And Mike eventually teamed up with Trey, and they did the first Methadones record, I think.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean that when we were in the practice room a lot, obviously we saw a lot of shows at Fireside Bowl because there was like shows happening then. And I always like was hoping that, oh, one day we'll be able to get play Fireside, but it's like, the years went on, we didn't, lots of show opportunities went by and we just never got to play. So part of me
No.
is like, well, yeah, we're getting tight. We're getting the band, we're just focusing, again, with the thing of like putting on or getting as tight as we can to when we do hit the stage, if we're going to put on a great show, But
Yeah.
part of me is like, and I feel like this now where it's like you have to get out there and play the shows to become a good band. It's like you can't expect to be in a practice room for a long time, and maybe they'll get you preparation to for a certain point, but it's like once you hit the stage, it's like anyone who has experience playing live, it's like you know uh everything kind of changes. Your mind changes like a little bit, your body plays tricks on you, you're like
Yeah.
problems arise. So it's like the more shows you play, you can push through that stuff. So then when it's you hear about bands that usually typically I've noticed a story of like when they hit it big or whatever, it's like they've been together and have been playing shows, maybe doing mini tours or whatever for like good 10 years or something. And then
Mhm.
when they're like, have a big opportunity, they're already primed for, you know what I mean, for putting on
Sure.
a
Yeah.
great show. So it's like, it's kind of like preparation and opportunity meet together, and the world is introduced to them. They see them. It's like, wow, this band is great, but it's like, if you try that, like without that experience, you're probably not. I mean, maybe you could, but I have a feeling for the most part you won't have have a great chance of doing that because it's like
Right.
you know
And I
there's
think
so many
there's
factors against you.
sure. I mean, and then there's the other factor of like failing, which I know, I mean, was there ever a time where you felt like you failed at a live show?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how, I
um
mean, and how do you deal with that? Like,
uh how do I deal with it? Well, I mean, it's better now because I care a little bit less. you know when I was
that's a
young,
good point. Yeah.
I mean, I can have fun more because I can most of the shows. Because what's great with Mike and the Molotovs, I'm kind of making up for lost time over the decades because I'm playing a lot of shows with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's we played some big stages, medium stages. The shows that are on my channel a lot are at this place called the Yucca Tap Room, and
Okay.
that's kind of in a way, it's kind of like the McGregors of Phoenix, or
Hmm.
some people have called it the CBGBs of Phoenix. It's
Okay.
kind of like the small club, but it's like some big names come through there, but then it's mostly like a lot of the local bands and stuff. So it kind of
That's
reminds you
cool.
of, again, like a McGregor's or whatever, Wrigley Side. you
Yeah,
know,
no, that's awesome.
uh,
Yeah, I mean yeah, because that was my other question was like, yeah, I mean, I'm obviously things are a little more slower paced, but you do have a scene. Has did your reputation precede you when you moved to Phoenix, or was it something that like how does that you're not like, hey, do you know me? I'm Johnny Personality.
oh, that hilarious. Nobody knows, nobody cares. It's like
Wow.
I'm way too old, and I love it. It's like if I mention it, like there's no like yeah, and when I lived in Illinois, I played with a band called the Vindictives, and I mostly just got, oh, that's cool. There's no like, you know, and it's like if I got that, I'm like, oh, geez, here we go. You know what I mean? It's like
Oh, okay.
because I think there's with Weasel, there's so many people. that have been through the band, I think depending on what year it was or something like that, maybe people thought that, if they saw them like on, in a different state or something like that, they'd be, oh man, I saw you guys in Colorado. It's like, never been. This is the wrong guy.
It wasn't us. Or you'd be like, yeah, cool, man. Thanks.
That small window of time in Chicago, if you probably saw me play with them those 8 months I was with Weasel.
Yeah, that's another thing too, because I didn't realize that until, I mean, I had the record. I remember being like, man, this is like next level stuff, which I always felt like, and I'm glad that you mentioned that to Johnny about like, when you had the decision between joining the Weasels or the Vindictives. And that's always been my opinion about, both bands. It's like, yes, there's that period of Weasel that was like untouchable, amazing, great shows too. But then, I'm like, I'm more of a Vindictives guy. It's like the Stones or the Beatles, like,
right.
like, and I heard a lot. I mean, obviously, like, playing, you definitely had one of the best drummers. Not talking about me, I was talking about Buckley.
Yeah.
Which is kind of where I guess my fandom kind of came, because at that point I'm like, I love this band. I need to know everything about them. Where they're going to be at next time.
Yeah.
Like, what's their favorite restaurant to go to, whatever. Then and I ended up becoming tight with Buckley for like a very brief time, but it was like probably some of the most like, informative times of I was like what 18, 19 at the time, so because we have a bit of an age difference, right? Like because I just turned 50 last December.
Okay, it's not too bad. I'm turning 54 this year, so
okay.
I feel that now. In a way. Being 54, I'm the oldest one in my band. Mike, the main guy, he's like 10 years younger than me, but again, it's like that makes him like 40. I think he's 42 now or something like that. So
such a baby.
Again, it's like, but again, yeah, exactly. It's like at a certain point, it doesn't really matter because it's like it's all,
Sure. Yeah, no, I play with Geezer Senior, and two of our guys are like 10 to 15 years older than us. So,
yeah.
but Jack is amazing, and he's still got moves, which is great.
Yeah.
So, full disclosure, I've yet to hear Mike and the Molotovs, but like how does it? I'm guessing it's punk rock.
Yeah, we call it spaghetti punk.
Okay.
It's kind of like another definition of it is yeehaw, fuck the man, rock and roll for the working class. So
nice.
It's like a lot of country infused. Some could maybe call it like cow punk or something like that. But like we have one of the original guys. He plays, and I don't know if he plays in like real country bands. So he's got like his Telecaster, and it's like he'd play like those real authentic, clean country licks and stuff. So the music has like a lot of that in there. We have some like slide guitar here and there and stuff. So
cool.
But and then it kind of like you just have to check it out. It's one of those best, just check it out and listen to it. But kind of see, but that's pretty much you can sort of narrow it down in that.
Yeah, sounds like it swings.
Yeah, yeah. It's I mean, one of the things I had to in the beginnings like of the band, like about 2, 3 years ago, are the bass player. He also plays. Well, everybody is a multi instrumentalist for the most part, so that's another
Okay.
nice thing. It's like, um, so the bass player at the time, he also is a drummer. He played drums in a band called The Strand. It's like kind of an industrial type band.
I feel like I've heard that
And
name.
but for Mike the Malthouse, he was sort of he wanted to play bass in a band, for a change. Um, so he had the ability to drum. So one of the songs we did requires like a train beat, and to keep that going, it's like was kind of tricky for me. So I would always kind of like fall apart after about like 10 seconds. And he sat behind the kid who was like, oh, try it like this. And so he was able to do it. So then we figured, okay, well, for this next show coming up, how about we just switch, and you, for when that song comes up, you'll play, because it has a train beat that I haven't mastered yet. I'll get it in a few weeks, but it's like, our few shows, and then I'll just play bass for that song. So that's for, and of course it took it like at least 2 or 3 years before I was able to really master the train beat. So
Yeah.
for all those shows, whenever we play that song, it would come at the end of the set, we would switch where it's like he would come behind the drums and play the song, and then I would play bass. So,
Oh,
and then
wow.
and some people like, they're kind of like, yeah, I like when you guys do that. It's cool when you switch around like that. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay. So we just kind of kept it. And my learning of the train beat was sort of became more lazy. I was like, okay, it's not as, I don't have to get to it right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I every time I tried it, it's like, yes, I can't do it. But it's like finally, it took me quite a while. I was able to do it. So
I survived it. How do you say so? I think I'm pretty clear. That was fucking amazing. Give it up for Isaac. You're gonna hate fuck anybody making the bourgeoisie. Let's do it. Part two.
You know what I still can't do to this day as a drummer, and I've been playing, for a long time. I can't do like a drum roll, like I still cannot do it to this day.
oh, really? Like a
Yeah.
press roll kind of a thing?
Is that
Oh,
what you call? Yeah, yeah. I've
yeah.
tried.
Like
Yeah, and I've
huh,
even there's even people who don't play drums that I'm friends with who can do that. I'm like, I can't do it. I don't know.
yeah.
I might have to take a lesson from you if do you do
uh,
lessons?
oh no, no. Oh, interestingly, oh, for one of the songs called "Billionaires Have Feelings Too," is
They
I
sure
played bass
do.
on that. Yeah, I played bass on that one for the studio, as well as the drum stuff. Um, so Mike, and I think in just creating some content for his, for the Mike and the Molotov channel, he wanted to film me doing like a lesson of how to play that line and stuff. And then the lead guitar player, Jason, he wanted to film him and show him how, him showing how the guitar parts go and stuff. So that was actually my first ever video bass lesson that
Okay,
I've done.
okay.
So
All right, so the song is in standard tuning. And on the recording, I used this Stingray, the cheap one. I usually have the EQ, like when we played live and even recording. I just have it because it's active. I just have it in the middle, like the middle detent. Well, let's just go like kind of from the beginning. It's just starts with the pulses on E on G. And then I do a lot of walking up to the next note, so it's like in that. I think in the beginning of the song I do it. I could be wrong, but it's like so. Like that kind of a thing. So it's like open E, F, F sharp, G. Is that right, Mike? Okay. So yeah. And then it just keeps pulsing for the verse, you know. And then it goes to kind of the main hook, which is played like this. And then it goes, there's kind of a glue portion that goes, so it's, and then it kind of walks up a little bit with that note, whatever that is, and then it repeats. So.
Yeah, I don't really I think I've sort of given some loose lessons here and there. Like for Mike Byrne, I showed him some stuff like what I knew on guitar for some stuff, but it's like I'm not like one of those, schooled like proper, like, oh, this is how to do music, and I show you how to all the modes and all the notes and terminology and all that crap. You know, I don't
I
know
mean,
enough of that. So
I could give you a suggestion. You should, or I don't know if you ever, are you familiar with the bass player, Leland Skylar?
yeah,
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 the big bearded guy,
yeah.
and his channel is insane, but he will,
I've seen him. Yeah,
okay, yeah, and he does his YouTube channel where he just like plays bass on songs. I don't know. It could be like, playing like some of your old hits, like this is how I
yeah.
play it. I don't know. Because
Oh, yeah,
you are I mean, I know you're a master musician, multi-instrumentalist, but your bass playing is by far one of my favorite players. And you play like my favorite, like basically all my favorite bass players are guys that can play guitar or are usually guitarists, but then switching to bass because it's just like there's so
yeah,
much. I call it the frustrated guitarist is
yeah.
the bassist. So so what was, I mean, was bass your first instrument? Was it drums or?
No, it was well, we had piano lessons as a kid, and I learned pretty quick that my method was I had a good ear. And growing up, I heard them say, "Oh, you shouldn't play by ear. That's cheating." But to me, that made no sense because
Hmm.
it's like painting and cheating because you look at the tube and your paint tube says red and blue. You look at it's like, well, yeah, that's what I mean. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
you need to open your eyes and like look at what you're painting. And would
yeah.
that be the painting version of like cheating, I guess? But it's like, well, I've gone to school. I know that this color, when you mix it with this, it's like, I mean, obviously you should know that that red and blue is gonna make purple or whatever, but it's like for certain shades, but it's like, whatever makes a cool end result, it's like that's the most important
Well, it's
thing. So
experimenting too, and kind of
yeah.
learning. I mean, I think, and something that you'd mentioned before about, uh, re-recording Vindictive songs, the whole push. And there was one line that still sticks to me from the Jughead interview when we were talking about working on Hypno Punko and this whole
Mhm.
uh, philosophy of trying to chase perfection, which I think,
Yeah.
I mean, I, and I remember the story, and I forget the band, but Mass, when we were recording Hypno Punko with Mass, he was telling the story about recording with that Italian band that was on VML. You remember them? What the
Oh
names
yeah,
is?
with the real swinger. And the
Oh,
drummer was like he dropped a drumstick and Mass was, you know, said, "Oh, well, you dropped your drumstick, and I think you should probably do it again." And yeah, he was saying, "Why, Max? Why must I re-record it? You want us to sound like Whitney Houston or something?"
Inside my room, I try to escape from boredom and discuss a room while I define it. To do, I do not shut up and love the Bible is. The cannot be set for furniture breeze. Otherwise, I would shut and I run for I feel what outside. The most I come inside, I remember my mind. So don't ask me why, don't ask me why.
And the phrase too is that it's a little, they're little presents for the fans.
Right? Yeah,
Little
present
present.
right.
So,
Exactly.
which I mean, do you? I mean, how did you feel about that? Like the idea of like, well, are you striving for perfection, or are you like okay with like,
No,
yeah,
no, I'm a fan of, you let her rip, and then you get things that you can't reproduce. If you get it recorded, that's great. Obviously, there's things to a point, you can adjust. And now with things like, computer editing and stuff, you can do all kinds of stuff.
yeah,
But, and, that helps make things go faster. I'm a fan of just doing that too. Like what's nice is Mike has a little studio set up in his house. So we'd go up to his condo, and I'd go up there, like, again, for a couple of the songs I'd play bass on, I would just play that bass line that I did the video lesson on, and some of the other instrumentalists will come up and lay down some guitar or whatever, this and that, and then he works real fast too, so he can, like, grab it and put pieces together and stuff like that. So so that method is kind of like the past couple of EPs that we recorded, and we have a third one coming up. And our method for recording is he pretty much he records his vocal, and there's kind of some basic tracks for how the song goes in kind of like a demo form, and then he has different people come in and record, like some people from the band, some people just musicians that specialize in a certain instrument for that particular song. And then for the drum tracking, we've gone to a guy. You ever hear of a band called The Stereo?
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Okay. The main, or I guess the main, or one of the main guys, Jamie Wolford. He also does producing and recording and stuff. So in this place I forget the exact, we're in Phoenix, but Phoenix is one of those, it's kind of like Chicagoland where there's all these suburbs, but you just say Phoenix, like,
Right.
but there's different, like, there's, Scottsdale, Glendale, like these different kind of, I guess, suburbs that are in the Phoenix area, So the past couple of EPs we recorded at that recording studio, the drum tracks and live with the real drum set, and it's his drum set too, because he plays some drums. He's another multi-instrumentalist, so
Oh, wow.
It's his drums that he has tuned how he likes. But again, that recording method, and maybe it was just because of the times, because you can just take pieces and put them, the best parts, together, and it sounds really good. Whereas like when we recorded Hypno Punko, it's kind of like it was just on ADAT tape, so we had from start to finish get it, as good as possible. So, but with the track and the EP, I played the drums to a click, so it's like we still play to a click, but it's like, again, the process was a lot better because it's like I was able to get enough of good performances that can be edited together for for the final thing, and it's still, there's enough presents for the fans, in there that
Right.
that keep it,
enough.
they keep it like human and sounding, not too robotic, but
Yeah.
So
I
I
mean,
don't know.
technology is great. I mean, I mean,
Yeah.
I will say that if it wasn't for the Vindictives, I wouldn't have learned how to play with a click,
Oh yeah.
that and if you remember that whole saga, so
Oh yeah. Right.
oh my God, I never felt like I wanted to just like basically just disappear for those 2 weeks
Yeah.
that I was, but
Yeah, I mean,
but
well, that whole thing was kind of like that came out of a weird, because we were still there's going to be the EP for Fat Records, and Fat Mike has to like it, or you know what I mean. And it started. A part of me was like on board with it, and then the other part was like, fuck Fat Mike. You know what I mean?
I mean,
It's like
yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean? Because it's like, this is not fun. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And as a result, we never got to be career musicians. But it's like
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't, I just miss again, like there's a lot of there's more. I wish we played some more shows.
Yeah.
That's really it. But
No,
the
yeah.
whole like getting. I mean, if we didn't go sidetrack and like fuck that, we're gonna do Flim Flams now, or like fuck that, we're gonna do the when we played together, I guess if you want to call it seriously, for Grand Mall, that where it's Jenny, Billy, me, and you and Joey, doing something of in the spirit of like a you know um like a Stooges type thing. But
Which
and that was a lot of fun. Those practices were fun, but again, that didn't really eventually go anywhere because again, we just our minds were just kind of everywhere, and either I can't even remember, it was so long ago, like life got in the way, or we probably just lost interest or something. I don't
well,
know.
so
Or
okay, yeah. So like, I guess we could talk about how I came back into the. So yeah, we played together in Dr. Bob's garage. That was the first time, and we basically
yeah,
played through pretty much all the Vindictive songs, which I was surprised that I kind of knew every single song because
yeah,
they were kind of like they're burned into my DNA at that point. I mean, I was
yeah,
nervous too, but so the flash forward to 2 years later, 3 years later. So it was like that was about 94. About 97, I got a call from Joey because we stayed in touch. I would
yeah,
make sure to block out at least 3 or 4 hours of the day to talk to Joey over the phone, if you
yeah,
remember that.
yeah. Oh my god.
And I mean, always great conversations with him,
Yeah,
but I remember he you know, asked me about like wanting to jam, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm listening, and he was like, I want to do this thing. It's not going to be the Vindictives. It's this other thing, and he mentioned the Stooges, and I was like, oh, I mean, I was such a huge fan of Funhouse and like
yeah.
that kind of vibe, that real like slow, almost like Flipper, almost if I were to go back, like I love Flipper, so
Mhm.
more slower stuff. So, but it was for me, it was just like it's an opportunity to get to play with my favorite people. And we did that for, I want to say couple months, 2 or 3 months of like
Yeah,
go taking the red line to the blue line and
right.
getting picked up by you or Billy to get to
Yeah.
that practice studio in Bensonville next to
Yep.
Victory, which I forget the name of that place or even if it had a name, but
Oh, I think Ranger Recording. It was Mike
that's
Ranger.
right. Because he had the camper
Rest in
inside that.
peace. Yeah,
Oh, he passed. Oh no.
I think so. Yeah, I forget when. At least 5 years ago, I think.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I just saw
Yeah.
something online like somewhere. But
Oh, well, I forgot his
yeah,
name. I got to look him up. But yeah,
yeah,
and he had that like camper inside of this huge.
right. Yep.
So it was like it was wild. But yeah, and I mean, I was in heaven just playing with you guys. It was because I
Mm.
just left Via Reverse too. That was the other part of this whole thing. So
Oh, okay.
was playing with Doug Ward, and we were together very briefly, like at least 2 years. Like, but within that 2 years, I recorded uh recorded a 10-inch, toured several times. But anyway, yeah. So at that point, I'm like, well, this is perfect timing because I'm like I'm a free agent now and I want to. And
Yeah,
then yeah, and those. I mean, do you have those tracks anymore? I used to have a cassette of some of the recordings, but
I think so. Yeah.
yeah,
It's somewhere. But
yeah,
now,
yeah.
now when I'm thinking about it, the thing that stopped the Grand Mall thing was that we decided to go with the Vindictives, and we started working on Vindictive stuff.
Well, I think
So
Jenny said
that
she.
kind of,
Yeah, well, Jenny, I think she was the way I heard it from Joey was that Jenny didn't want to do this anymore, didn't want to play music.
yeah, I don't know. Well, she was working with the dummy room too, so maybe she comes straight from the dummy room and we practice. So,
Oh, I forgot that was still
and
going on.
she was in support of, Joey, whatever he wanted to do, kind of a thing. So I think he was kind of more like, I think we should probably get the Vindictives going or again or something. Again, it's so long ago, I can't remember exactly,
Sure. I mean,
but I think
yeah,
that's kind of how that, and then of course you stayed on drums and then, we did a thing where I think for those practices up until recording with Mass, I think I was playing like kind of lead slash rhythm guitar, and I think Billy was just doing
hmm,
bass just so they would like it wouldn't hurt our ears so much with two guitars and just drums. I don't know. I can't
hmm.
exactly remember, but
Yeah, yeah, that sounds because so a number of the songs there was at least one or two Grand Mal tunes that ended up on or at least being recorded for Hypno Punko, but
yeah, yeah,
um I think one was a structure and function was
right,
like
yeah,
so
and
and I remember when we were practicing that song he's like yeah it's like you want to do like a little like Sweet Child of Mine like because I remember when I got to the studio and Joey had told me, well, Jenny's not in the, it's not, doesn't want to do this. And then we're going to do the Vindictives now. And basically went into this whole thing. And I remember it as clear as day that it's like, punk is dead. I want to do Punk Floyd.
right, yeah,
Like, basically, and I got it. I'm like, yeah, I want to, because at that point, I mean, we're talking like 90s, like 98.
yeah,
And that was kind of like the just like the real like formulaic punk rock or whatever that was like the pop punk shit was really like just
yeah.
it was everywhere and for me I've always been an adventurous experimental kind of guy so
Oh
that
yeah.
just you know and the for me I was kind of thinking like this could elevate this music to a
Mhm.
to a much grander level.